Let's journey back thousands of years to the heart of Anatolia, a land that today forms the core of modern Turkey. This region, with its rolling hills and rugged plateaus, has witnessed the rise and fall of countless civilizations, but few are as mysterious and influential as the Hittites. This rugged land was once home to the Hittites, a powerful civilization that, for centuries, was lost to the pages of history and nearly erased from memory. The Hittites weren't just a minor tribe tucked away in the mountains. They forged an empire that rivaled the might of Egypt and Babylon, standing shoulder to shoulder with the greatest powers of the ancient world. Their capital, Hattusa, was a marvel of ancient engineering, a fortress city with massive stone walls and imposing gates, many of which still stand today as silent witnesses to their lost glory. The Hittites were pioneers in the use of iron, giving them a technological edge in warfare. Their chariots thundered across battlefields, and their diplomats negotiated with kings and pharaohs, shaping the fate of nations. They established vast trade networks, signed the world's earliest known peace treaties, and clashed with formidable neighbors like the Egyptians and the Mycenaean Greeks, leaving their mark on every corner of the ancient Near East. Yet for centuries, the Hittites faded into obscurity. Their name survived only in brief biblical references and scattered legends, their achievements nearly forgotten by the world. Everything changed in the early 1900s, when determined archaeologists began to unearth the ruins of Hattusa. Among the stones, they discovered thousands of clay tablets inscribed with the secrets of a lost civilization. Suddenly, the Hittites spoke to us across the millennia. Their laws, letters, and epic myths emerged from the dust, revealing a complex society with its own gods, heroes, and ambitions. This discovery didn't just fill a gap in our knowledge, it completely reshaped our understanding of the ancient Near East, adding a missing superpower to the grand story of civilization. The Hittites rose from obscurity, challenged the giants of their age, and then vanished, reminding us that history is full of lost chapters waiting to be rediscovered. And for explorers and dreamers alike, there's nothing more thrilling than uncovering the secrets of a forgotten empire, breathing life into the silent stones of the past. Now let's cross the Aegean, leaving behind the familiar shores of Greece and venturing toward the mysterious lands of ancient Anatolia. Our destination, the legendary city of Troy, a place that has fascinated explorers, scholars, and dreamers for centuries. The Trojan War, immortalized by Homer's Iliad, was long thought to be pure myth, a grand tale spun from the imagination of poets. Heroes clashed, gods intervened, and the cunning Trojan horse became a symbol of trickery and fate. This epic story has captivated us for millennia, inspiring countless works of art, literature, and even film. For centuries, historians dismissed it as legend, too fantastical, too dramatic to be anything but fiction. The line between history and myth seemed clear. But in the 1870s, a determined German businessman named Heinrich Schliemann set out to challenge that belief. Driven by a lifelong obsession, he began digging at Hizarlik in Turkey, convinced he'd find the real Troy beneath the earth. Against all odds, Schliemann uncovered the remains of a great Bronze Age city, massive stone walls, layers of destruction, and treasures buried for thousands of years. The evidence was impossible to ignore. Suddenly, the line between myth and history blurred. Could the Trojan War have really happened, or was it still just a story? Troy, known as Wilusa in Hittite texts, sat on the edge of the powerful Hittite Empire's influence, a strategic crossroads between East and West. If a major war erupted there, the Hittites would have known, and likely been involved, as their diplomatic records suggest. The intersection of archaeology and ancient texts opened a new chapter in the search for Troy, blending myth, history, and science. The question remains, how much of Homer's epic is rooted in real events, and how much is the product of human imagination? The search for answers continues, drawing us ever deeper into the mysteries of the past. Now we turn from epic poetry to the Hittite royal archives. Among thousands of cuneiform tablets, one stands out, the Tawagalawa letter. Written by a Hittite king to the ruler of Ahiyawa, likely the Mycenaean Greeks, it's a diplomatic complaint. The letter describes a Greek-backed troublemaker, Pijamaradu, raiding near Wilusa. The Hittite king addresses his Greek counterpart as brother, signaling equal power. He asks for help in stopping the raids and restoring order. Crucially, the letter mentions Wilusa, widely believed to be Troy. The name Tawagalawa may even echo the Greek Ediocles, hinting at real Greek figures in Anatolia. This letter reveals direct contact, rivalry, and conflict between the Hittites and Mycenaeans right at Troy's doorstep. It's a rare glimpse of Bronze Age politics that mirrors the world of the Iliad. Suddenly the Trojan War doesn't seem so far-fetched. The next Hittite document is even more revealing. The Alaksandu Treaty. Drafted around 1280 BC, it's a formal agreement between the Hittite king and Alaksandu, ruler of Wilusa. Alaksandu swears loyalty to the Hittites, making Wilusa a vassal state. The name Alaksandu is strikingly similar to Alexandros, Paris of Troy in Greek legend. The treaty binds Wilusa to defend the Hittite Empire, meaning any attack on Troy could draw in Hittite support. The gods of both Wilusa and the Hittites are invoked, including Apollonius, likely Apollo, Troy's divine protector in the Iliad. Even the mention of local springs echoes Homer's descriptions of Troy. This treaty transforms Troy from myth to a real city entangled in international politics. The puzzle pieces are falling into place, history and legend are converging. The Hittite archives give us a new lens on the Trojan War. Let's lay out the evidence for Hittite involvement at Troy. For centuries, the story of the Trojan War has been told as a clash of legendary heroes, but recent discoveries suggest a much deeper geopolitical context, one that places the powerful Hittite Empire at the heart of the conflict. First, consider the geography. The city of Wilusa, mentioned in Hittite texts, aligns almost perfectly with the archaeological site of Troy. This isn't just a coincidence. Ancient records and modern excavations both point to this connection. The Hittites dominated Anatolia and controlled vast territories. Any major conflict in this region, especially one involving a city as significant as Troy, would have inevitably drawn their attention and involvement. Second, the names in the Hittite records are striking. Wilusa is Troy, Ahiyawa refers to the Greeks, and Alaksandu is likely Paris. These names are not just similar, they are direct linguistic links between the myth and the history. These aren't random similarities, they're historical fingerprints, providing a rare glimpse into how ancient peoples identified each other and their rivals. Third, the politics. The Tawagalawa letter and the Alaksandu Treaty reveal a complex web of alliances and rivalries. These documents show that the Greeks and Hittites were not just neighbors, but competitors, with Troy caught in the middle as a Hittite ally. A Greek attack on Troy would have been seen as an attack on a Hittite vassal state, potentially triggering a much larger war between two powerful empires. This reframes the Trojan War as a proxy war between two superpowers of the late Bronze Age, rather than just a personal feud over Helen. The Hittites may have supported Troy with military resources, strategic advice, and even diplomatic pressure, while Homer's epic focused on the individual heroics of Greeks and Trojans. The real story then is one of international intrigue, shifting alliances, and the struggle for regional dominance, a far cry from simple myth. The evidence is compelling, if not yet conclusive. But it's clear that the Hittites played a far greater role in the saga of Troy than once believed, opening new chapters in our understanding of ancient history. But not everyone is convinced by the Hittite-Troy connection. Skeptics argue the evidence is circumstantial. Names like Alaksandu could be common, and Wilusa's identification with Troy isn't certain. The Hittite texts never mention a Trojan War on the scale of Homer's epic. Homer wrote centuries after the events, weaving myth and memory into poetry. Oral tradition can distort facts over generations. Archaeologically, there's no clear Hittite military presence at Troy, no weapons, no direct evidence. The destruction layers at Troy don't match the grandeur of the Iliad siege. Skeptics warn against forcing the evidence to fit a beloved story. They remind us, history needs more than suggestive names and letters to rewrite the past. The Hittite connection remains a fascinating but unproven hypothesis. So how do we solve this ancient mystery? It's a team effort. Philologists decipher Hittite tablets, while archaeologists dig for clues at Troy and beyond. Every new tablet or artifact could change the story. Modern archaeology is meticulous, analyzing pottery, soil, and architecture for signs of Hittite influence. The search extends beyond Troy, mapping the region for evidence of a Hittite network. In Greece, Mycenaean sites are scoured for Anatolian artifacts. Each find, no matter how small, adds to the puzzle. Progress is slow and interpretations are debated, but the truth is buried in the dirt, and only patience and open minds will uncover it. The quest continues, one discovery at a time. The challenge is making ancient texts and archaeological evidence speak to each other. The Hittite letters and Homer's poems give us names and stories. The trenches yield walls, pots, and destruction layers, tangible, but silent. The big question: do the texts and the trenches describe the same events? Some argue the convergence is too strong to ignore. Texts give context to the ruins. Others say the evidence doesn't always line up. Troy's destruction may have been an earthquake, not war. Which Troy is Homer's Troy? The answer isn't clear. This debate is the heart of historical inquiry, a constant dialogue between sources and interpretations. New discoveries can upend everything overnight. Until then, historians and archaeologists will keep debating, refining, and searching. The uncertainty isn't a failure, it's what drives discovery. The past is always open to new questions. So, were the Hittites involved in the Trojan War? We still don't know for sure. The evidence is intriguing, but the mystery endures. That's what makes history exciting. It's alive, full of unanswered questions. The Hittite connection reminds us the ancient world was interconnected, not isolated. Troy's story might belong to both Greeks and Hittites, a shared chapter in human history. Studying these mysteries sharpens our thinking and teaches us to weigh evidence and embrace uncertainty. The search for Troy is about more than facts. It's about connecting with real people from the past. Their stories echo in our own world: conflict, diplomacy, and the need to make sense of our place in history. The past isn't dead, it's waiting for the next discovery. Every blank spot on the map is an invitation to explore. And the greatest stories are the ones we're still uncovering.